Back when I was a busy internal medicine resident, someone once asked me, how do you have time to work out consistently every single week? Because I did at that time. And the honest answer I gave was, I don't have time not to. I have not always been someone who works out consistently, but for about the past decade, I have. And I used both consciously, unconsciously, a ton of scientific approaches to actually make myself be consistent. And today I'm someone who works out every single week, pretty much without fail. And I don't even think about it. It's not even a challenge. And so I want to share with you the top highlights of those scientific approaches that I use that really have helped me stick with it and really actually be someone who is physically active every single week. Number one is so important. You have to reframe your why of working out. And I'm about to burst your bubble in the best way. Exercise alone is not going to make you lose weight. There has never been a study that shows that getting in the gym, doing a fitness journey is going to actually help lead to weight loss. It has to be combined with diet and exercise. But you know what? I think this is a great thing because it releases this idea that this is something that you have to do to lose weight. What I am talking about is being someone who is physically active for health and longevity and for the prevention of long-term diseases, not to get a body that you want. I'm just going to be honest with you. Your motivation for working out should not be to get a better body. There's many things that it can be. It can be to sleep better, to live longer, to have higher self-confidence, to reduce your incidence of pretty much every major chronic disease you can think of, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, the list goes on and on. It can be a combination of these things, or it can be one of these things. It can be, I just want to have more energy in my life, or I just want to be someone who sticks to something, who sets goals for myself and actually does it. And I highly recommend writing down your why. This is so important. Just put it pen to paper, or better yet, put it in the comments, share it with everyone else. I actually read all my comments. I will reply to you, but you need to have a very strong why outside of how you want to look aesthetically. And here's one of the biggest reasons why if you make your why because of how you want to look, you're going to quit pretty fast because physical results take months and months to appear. And you are not going to notice that in the first few weeks, most likely, of working out. So you need a longer term why. And if nothing else, just remember that your why can be that if you go through life without physical activity in it, your life won't be as good. You aren't going to have as much energy. You aren't going to live as long. You will not be as happy. You will not be as healthy. End of story, period. That's just how it is. I don't make the rules. Number two is to start small, and this may actually go counter to some of the advice that you've heard before. I've actually heard fitness influencers say it takes 21 days to start a habit, so just commit to 21 days of a full-blown exercise regimen, and then after that, you've got it. Like, you're locked in. That is actually not true. I mean, trust me, it's going to give you a huge dopamine hit if you say that. If you say starting tomorrow, I'm embarking on a fitness journey. I'm going to do 5 days a week, an hour each day in the gym, and I'm going to stick with it for 21 days. And I know after those 21 days that the habit will be stuck, but that's not actually scientific. I'm sorry. There's a reason that gym memberships fall off in about the second week of February after peaking right after the new year, because people can keep it up for a month, maybe 6 weeks, and then they drop off. That is why I say you need to start small. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to be real with you. We do have a long-term goal that we're working for. The American College of Sports Medicine and the Center for Disease Control does have exercise guidelines for Americans. What are those guidelines? It is either 150 minutes per week of moderate intensity exercise or 75 minutes per week of vigorous intensity exercise. So for the moderate intensity, think about something like a light jog or a brisk walk where you can still kind of have a conversation, more or less. The vigorous intensity is going to be something where you're, playing tennis or you're doing high intensity interval training, a lot more intense. They also recommend doing 2 days of strength training on top of that because building and maintaining muscle is so important. But you do not have to start out with that. It is so much more important to start small. So I don't want anyone to go from 0 minutes of exercise per week all the way to aiming for 150. That is a recipe for failure, and you're going to have an all or nothing mentality that is going to say, well, I didn't hit my goal of 150 minutes per week, so I may as well throw in the towel. If you are someone who is literally starting from zero, I would say try getting 30 minutes a week. That's 2 15-minute workouts. Then maybe the next week you go up to 16 minutes. Maybe that's 2 30-minute workouts or 4 15-minute workouts. Truly start so small and work your way up. You're going to get a way bigger dopamine hit from telling yourself that you're going to be in the gym 5 days a week, but we are not here to make dopamine hits. We're here to create long-lasting lasting behavior change, and to turn yourself into someone who genuinely works out and enjoys doing it. And a really science-backed way to take advantage of this starting small mentality is to do habit stacking. This is James Clear's famous method, and it has been scientifically shown to work. It means basically tying one habit into something that you already do. So for example, saying, after I finish my morning coffee, I am going to do 5 minutes of stretching. Or after I walk my dog, I am going to do 10 minutes of resistance training. Just a habit that you already do, tie in your new movement habit to that. And it can be so short. Number 3, it is so important to expand your definition of working out really is. One of the most important things that you really need to focus on is doing movement that you actually enjoy. I don't care that the person with the body that you want is doing HIIT training 5 days a week. If you don't like HIIT, that is not for you. The other thing I want you to keep in mind is that there may be things you're already doing that you don't necessarily count as exercise. So I want to tell you a really fascinating study to illustrate this point. And it was a study of housekeepers, people who cleaned houses for a living. They were asked to estimate the amount of physical activity they got before the study started. And a lot of them said they didn't exercise very much and they didn't rate their health very high. Then they actually told the participants, hey, you know what? You clean houses all day. You're on your feet, you're moving. What you're doing counts as exercise. And you know what? They did not change what they were doing in terms of physical activity on a day-to-day basis, but just knowing that they were actually doing exercise led to significant improvements in their health. Their blood pressure went down, their waist to hip ratio went down, their body fat went down, and most importantly, they actually felt healthy. They felt like they were doing something that was good for their health. Now, I don't mean to say that a bunch of you out there have a hobby of cleaning your house and that counts as exercise, so just go do that, although that may be the case for some of you. But what I am saying is that there's a lot more that counts as healthy movement in that moderate exercise category than you think. So that could be playing a sport that you really like, that could be dancing, going out on Saturday night and dancing, like absolutely counts. All I'm saying is broaden your definition of what movement is and make sure that you pick exercise that you actually like doing. I swear to God, the best exercise you can possibly do is the one that you actually enjoy. And literally stop trying to get yourself to do exercise that you think is really healthy and you think you should be doing if you don't like it. End of story. Done. Don't mess with that anymore. You're not going to do it. And again, this is really truly science-based. It comes from self-determination theory. And that means that anything that you do that is intrinsically motivated, that you do it because you like it, you find it fulfilling, you find it worthwhile, those are the things that you are actually going to be more likely to do and stick with. Number 4, calendar your workouts, or calendar what I like to call your movement sessions. In my video on productivity, I actually say that you should calendar everything, and I stand by that. When you put something in your calendar that only involves you, you are making an agreement with yourself. You are setting a standard for yourself. And when you follow through on that agreement, that promise to yourself, that is the highest form of self-respect. And not surprisingly, research actually supports this. You are more likely to follow through with exercise if you make what's called implementation intentions. If you say to yourself, if you write it down, I am going to do this on this day at this time. One thing that actually helps me personally is having a fixed workout schedule that I follow pretty much every week. For me, at this phase in my life, I'm doing a lot of strength training, I'm lifting weights, and so basically how my week goes is that every Monday without fail, I do lower body. And then Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on my week, because I allow for some flexibility, I do upper body. Then Thursday, it's lower body again. And then sometime over the weekend, whether that's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I make sure to get in some cardio and abs. So that could be going on a hike, that counts as cardio. That could be doing a 20-minute high intensity interval training exercise workout class in my house. But that's my weekly schedule. That's what I stick to. I calendar it and I follow it because that's a commitment that I make to myself. The other thing that I would highly recommend, and is actually also science-based, is tracking your workouts after the fact. So not just calendaring them so that you know you are going to do it in the future, but actually following them using an app like a habit tracker or an exercise app. And that's because there was a really interesting study that actually showed that exercise does indeed boost adherence. So if you track it, that's kind of like a way of celebrating, like, hey, I did it. And there's science that says when you track it that way, you're going to keep doing it in the future. Side note, I also really like the idea of rewarding yourself for consistency. So you could say, I'm going to stick to these 8 workouts that I've calendared, maybe over a 2-week period. And at the end, when I've accomplished that, I'm going to get myself a massage. Sounds nice. Number 5, make it as easy as humanly possible. If easy for you is going to a gym because it's literally on your way home from work, by all means go to the gym, but you don't have to. Easy for me when I was a medical resident was literally just doing YouTube videos of exercise in my apartment. I did 30 minutes, 3 days a week. That's what I could commit to at that point in my life. Done. It was easy. There are so many free workouts on YouTube. If you're watching this video, there's a chance that you know them. I personally have loved Fitness Blender. There are tons of Pilates instructors that I like on here. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments. I would love to know. Other things that you can do to make working out easy are, for example, prepping ahead of time for whatever you want to do. So let's say that you're planning to work out in the morning. The night before, you can put out your clothes, put out your shoes, fill your water bottle, get everything ready so that when you wake up, it's easy for you to just get going. The same could be said if you're planning to work out when you get home from work. This is what I did when I was a medical resident. I would get home, have a little quick snack of like an apple, maybe an apple with peanut butter for some fuel, put on my workout clothes, just do the video and be done with it. Sort of related to this is following the 2-minute rule. This is from Atomic Habits, which basically says take 2 minutes and do the easy version. So even if you feel like, oh my God, I cannot work out today, I do not want to do it, try just putting on the gym clothes. Try just pulling up your workout playlist. Just do the 2-minute easy version and see what happens. More often than not, you're just going to follow through with it because you're like, you know what? I'm here. It's already easy. Let's do this. Number 6, and this is a little bit more introspective and reflective, is if you miss a workout, ask yourself why. So say you had calendared something, say you have told yourself that you're going to do this workout, and for whatever reason you don't do it. Instead of just being like, ugh, I have no discipline, I missed it today, like I'll just get back on the horse tomorrow. No, really get curious on why that happened. Was it because your expectations for yourself were way too high? Was it because you tried to go from 0 to 100 because last week you didn't really work out at all, and this week you told yourself that you're going to go to 4 indoor cycling classes? Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe you were trying to go for too much and you were not starting small enough. Or was it because you had planned to do a 30-minute workout and it turned out you just did not have the time for that? But really, you could have done something for 15 or 20 minutes. Maybe you are still dealing with an all or nothing mentality, a perfectionist mentality that is saying, well, if I can't do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. Trust me, that attitude does not work when it comes to building consistency in a fitness routine. Because you know, and I know, that 15 minutes would have been better than nothing. That 5 minutes would have been better than nothing. So really get curious on when things don't go the way you planned, why that was. And that process of reflecting on why is going to help you learn the lessons that you need to learn so that you can actually have better success in the future. Don't beat yourself up. Just learn from it. And 7, we are going to end this video with one of my favorite wellness tips of all time. If you know anything about me, you know I say this in most of my videos, and that is you need to get enough sleep. You have to prioritize your sleep. If you are sleep deprived, your odds of wanting to work out and actually following through on a workout go down significantly. Sleep is the number 1 wellness habit. Everything else pretty much comes second. And I would say if you only have time for a 20-minute workout because you're going to prioritize your sleep, that is better than a 40-minute workout but you cut your sleep short. Sleep deprivation is very, very unhealthy in the long term. And like I said, there is nothing that is going to kill your motivation to move to exercise, to work out faster than being sleep deprived and not having energy. The great news about all of this is that when you are working out consistently, you also will sleep better. Study after study shows that. And that is one of the biggest benefits of exercise and my primary motivation for working out, even when I was a super busy medical resident, because I knew I had limited time to sleep. I struggled with insomnia, and I knew that if I didn't move my body and stay active, I was not going to sleep as well. And sleep is the one piece of glue that was holding my life together at that time. And that's all I got for you today. Please leave whatever questions you have in the comments. Like I said, I read them all. I would love to have you on my corner of the internet if this is at all interesting to you. So please give a thumbs up to this video, please subscribe, and let's keep in touch. Thanks, guys.